Organizers say 50,000 people attended the National March on the White House on August 2nd to try and stop Israel's attacks on Gaza and pressure the United States to end all military aid to Israel. Despite the protests that have taken place throughout the world condemning Israel's violence and occupation, Gaza's civilian population continues to be murdered and displaced in an inhumane open-air prison with billions of dollars worth of assistance as well as political alliance from the U.S. government. More than 1,800 Palestinians have been killed and nearly 10,000 have been injured over the last month. Protesters in the occupied West Bank have been commonly met with tear gas and live ammunition by Israeli forces during the last month of demonstrations against Israel's attacks. 17 Palestinians in the occupied West Bank were killed by Israeli forces since July 7th, as protesters over the slaughter in Gaza were held in refugee camps, villages, and cities across the territory.
What we're waiting for here is for Washington to get free. What we're waiting here is for our president to hear our demands.
Energy wasn't hard to come by during the demonstration, but professor and author Dr. Cornel West's condemnation of President Obama and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu set the mood for a passionate demonstration.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal not because he's Jewish, but because he has chosen to promote occupation and annihilation. Barack Obama is a war criminal not because he's black or half African and white, but because his drones have killed 233 innocent children and because he facilitates the killing of innocent Palestinians in Gaza, in the West Bank, and it would be true anywhere else.
Once the speeches were over, many demonstrators carried caskets with a Palestinian flag wrapped around each of them to the offices of the Washington Post and the Caterpillar corporations, and then back to the White House. Brian Becker of the Answer Coalition, an anti-war group, said the Washington Post has served as Israel's propaganda machine, while Caterpillar helps Israel carry out war crimes and human rights violations by continuing to do business with the state, which uses its equipment to destroy Palestinian homes.
And they can no longer conceal the fact that the Israeli government's policy has never been about peace.
Speakers in D.C. stated that this wasn't an issue of religion, but an issue of human rights, a principle reflected in the diversity of the march participants.
We stand not with the level of skin pigmentation or ethnic identity. This is ethical, this is spiritual with political consequences, and that's why we do acknowledge the need for resistance under conditions of occupation and annihilation.
Israel's violence is being met with growing opposition in the U.S. Organizers said most people arrived on dozens of buses from cities across the country like Chicago, Tampa Bay, Florida, and Richmond, Virginia. The protests received a lot of support from passers-by. Many joined the protests and began chanting with marchers after learning about the atrocities committed by Israel with the financial assistance from the U.S. For the Electric Intifada in Washington, D.C., I'm Nader Ihmoud.